Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Wednesday afternoon, September 28th. We are looking at Window Trader's market profile of the ES and SPY, and this was what you would call basically a beautiful, perfect trend day up, where the buyers got paid all day. Now, it doesn't matter who's buying it. We know it's short covering and momentum buying, but the bottom line is buyers got paid all day. Same cannot be said for sellers. We didn't have much of a pullback at all. At all. We pulled back a little bit in G, a little bit in I. Barely pulled back at all. So it shows you, as the market started gaining momentum, how short this market really is on both the daily, well, on all the time frames, because even monthly being in balance, the monthly was at its 5-month balance low, and they were pushing. We go out with a triple distribution day. We have singles in B, we have singles in L. We go out with a price probe. L's high. We go out with an afternoon pullback low. I'm using G and ES. G and ES and SPY. Triple Qs, they go out. Triple distribution day with a price probe. Now remember, Qs had filled their gap. They got into and got, right? I'm not sure if they got it, but very close to that 12 white puck on the 22nd. Russell also filled their gap. And they go out with a triple distribution day, 3 sets of singles, and a price probe. Now, volume good again today. We're at already 101 million with the after hours still to go. So that's impressive. Couple of things. I'm not going to be trading them all. I have somewhere to be. I will do a morning video, but I won't be here at all during the trading day. And then I'll recap and do a video late in the afternoon tomorrow. We have the end of the quarter on Friday. We said yesterday, when the market attempted to go up, I said this would be a decent thing for the bulls, right? Because we can try to come into, well, they did come into balance on the daily, get into the gap, and maybe have a quarter that doesn't look that bad. So, and then they fell apart, right? Now here we are back doing the same thing. We got into the gap, still leave about $1.40 of it, but we got into it. Right now, considering what the first and second quarter were, with 2 days to go in the quarter, we're only down $7 now in the S&P. Not bad. So if they get a follow-through, we could end basically flat to maybe even up on the quarter, unless they give everything back again over the next 2 days. Now, I'm not really expecting that, but you never know. I do think, and the reason I'm saying that is because the 5-month balance low. If we weren't at a critical juncture like that, I would say anything can happen. But because they defended that, right? One day we got close to it and bounced off it. The next day we stretched it and came above it. I think there might be a little more legs to this short covering. Remember our progression of lower highs and lower lows. We'll look at that on the chart. Remember, Qs and NQ didn't even take out their 5-month balance low, and they didn't even take out last week's low. Now they're close to it, so that's going to be a target at some point, but for now it held. Russell, even though they filled all their gap and everything, again, they've got to get above IWM, that 173.39 level, which is a crucial level for me. As far as my trades, to go over them would be silly. I did nothing but long this market in A, B, C, D. I wanted to long E, but I was waiting for E to get B's high and raise POC. Never did, and then it went away without me. And then we had nothing but tremendous chop. Basically, F through K. I longed H once for a new high. That's it. And then I longed L twice. I didn't do anything in M. You know, and I told the room, I said, even though I'm expecting the market to continue to go higher, there's no reason to be caught up in this chop. One of two things was going to happen. We're going to continue doing what we were doing, and with all the MGI back in the buyers, that would better odds. Or Larry and Moe, right? Curly didn't do much, the Three Stooges. Larry and Moe were going to roll over and hurt these longs here. Now, again, I told the room while we're here, not when we started trading higher, in here, I said the odds favor us going higher because everything's in favor of the buyers. I have that checklist sheet. They had overnight low, overnight high, value overlapping a higher. trend day up, indices up, the opening they held, you name it, they had it. That's very powerful stuff. And it's something that's good to keep as a day trader in front of you to keep you grounded. Because when you're looking for shorts on a day like today, you can look at that sheet and say, whoa, hold on a second. This market's doing nothing but going up. I need to be looking for longs on pullbacks. And I told the room, I said, there's no reason to get caught up in this chop. I said, if we take out H's high and start going, then you use H's high as you're out and look for longs. And that's exactly what happened in L&M. So I didn't long anything in here except that one long in H when we took out G. I thought we were going to get a new high, which we did. I stayed out of this, and then I longed L twice. And that was that. But it was a really good day. Excellent day. Which is kind of rare for me on a trend day up. I usually have trouble with those grinds. Anyway, as far as destinations for the upside, we have today's high in SPY of 372.30, filling the gap at 373.44. So it's still $1.14. Then we have 375.57, 12 wide from September 22nd, and a daily high of 377.66. For the downside, price probe, L's high, 371.15. First set of single prints, 370.29 to 370. That's M's low to H's high. Then we have our afternoon pullback in G of 368.11. And then our first set of single prints that we had today, from C's low to A's high, which is 365.91 to 364.96. And then today's low of 362.60. So we're trading today is 3 separate days. I won't be here trading, but just remember, the most positive response for buyers is to open above H's high, above in the upper distribution, and above L's high, above the base of the price spike. That'd be the most positive, or the gap higher. If we open in the middle distribution, it's not a disaster for bulls, but then there's more uncertainty. For ES, on the downside, we have the price probe, 39.25. First set of single prints start at 30 and get filled at 28. Afternoon pullback low of 08.75. Single prints 86 to 76.75, and today's low of 52.25. For the upside, we have today's high of 51.25, filling the gap at 63.50. 12 wide at 83.25, and a daily high of 06.75. And then on the chart, so here's the monthly, right? We defended that balance low. We stretched it. But right now, we came off of it by $10. Does that mean there's an all-clear signal given to the buyers? Of course not. Of course not. But it is baby steps. So at least they got $10 off our new balance low. Still balance. Weekly. Has anything changed in the weekly? Absolutely not. Nothing changes in the weekly till we take out a weekly high. I don't think we're going to take out last week's high in the next 2 days, which would mean if we're going to try to come into balance on the weekly, we would like to take out this week's high, whatever it may be, by Friday's close. But the weekly is clearly down. Now, the daily I struggled with a bit. A lot of people will call it up, and I have no problem with that. I was thinking about calling it up because we did take out the balance high by $1.72. However, because I think obviously the buying was done by short covering momentum buyers, and we didn't fill the gap. If we filled the gap, I definitely would have called the daily up. I'm going to make the buyers prove themselves. I'm going to call it basically balance to up, which means if the buyers take out today's high, it is clearly up. If we don't take out today's high and play inside of yesterday's range, then pretty much it's still just balance. So we'll see how that plays out. I do think, though, look at this trend line here. See the trend line? Today we stayed above it. And again, that doesn't mean one day doesn't make a market. But what I think we can see in the coming days is the daily going up. And remember, we have the succession of lower highs. So we have 2 of them here. Will we start getting one to make a third one? Maybe get up to the 20-day moving average at some point. If that's the case, that's going to be critical for the fourth quarter. Why? Because then the question will be, will the lower highs and lower lows continue? Or by defending that balance low, at the yearly low spark something, not only just short covering, but more buyers coming into the fourth quarter to possibly break that succession of lower highs. Remember, we did it January through almost the end of June. And then for 2 months, we broke out of it, only to fail again. So a lot on the table going into the fourth quarter as these coming days and weeks approach us. Hope you had a good day trading. Thanks for the likes and subscribing. Have a lovely evening. And we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.